Hi, this is Jesse, and you're listening to the Head Knocks Overdose Football Fix. It is Saturday, October 29th, 2022. This is podcast number 119. It's a beautiful fall Saturday morning, and I'm happy about it, and things are going good. So, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Head Knocks Overdose Football Fix podcast. I'm one of the hostesses, the Garlic Johnson. We are joined, as always, by your other lovely hostess, the Joshua Mitchell. Josh, say hi to the folks out there.
Hi, folks.
Beautiful. All right, we've got the Discord. Everyone can chat with us. I mean, everyone knows about it these days. We've also got the segment start times down in the description below, probably. I might not do them today because I'm lazy. And then we've also got to thank Levi Oki for all the beautiful artwork that he's provided us over all the years. And again, some beautiful custom art would make a great Christmas gift. So something to think about. Halloween is Monday, and the next thing you know it, you're feeling guilty for not being prepared enough. So ignore the supply chain. Have Carmen Bear draw you something beautiful for someone you love. Oh my god, my battery's running low. So but yeah, Josh, you go ahead and tell me how you're doing and give me a good probably 60-second answer to how you're doing, because I gotta plug in my laptop.
Yeah, well, I'm doing. Obviously today it's Asher's 1 day or 1 year, 1 day. So he's a man. Got a little bit of a birthday party with a few close friends and family. So been getting ready for that, and by getting ready for that, I mean Nikita's doing 90% of the work, and I'm doing about 10. Had a good birthday yesterday. He got a new pickaxe, and a new pair of work boots. So, and a one-way ticket to the mines, so he can go out and earn his keep. And yeah, I just figured that's kind of how his birthday goes. And how are you, Gar?
Well, Josh, that was perfect timing, honestly. You actually nailed that. I'm doing good. I mean, I'm happy. I'm down in the cities here. I'm down in the range's basement. We are currently being supported by the mobile hotspot on my phone, so that's always a joy, but it's worked for us before, and I actually have my big laptop, and I brought my mic, so things shouldn't at least sound as garbage. Maybe you'll hear my mic moving around because I don't have it stationary. I'm just holding it, but we should sound a lot better than we did, a Tuesday and a half ago. But no, I'm doing good. I'm excited for Ash's birthday, and then I was invited to 2 adult Halloween parties tonight, both for the Mr. Dave Sows and a buddy of mine, Lucas, is having like a Halloween/housewarming party, so I don't know what I'm going to do. But, I mean, I'll probably make appearances at both. I think, I don't know, we'll figure it out. Too many people. I'm not supposed to be popular. Why are people inviting me to things? So,
well, probably because they know when you show up, you're going to bring a lot of smiles, bring a lot of joy. The Dave party, I think I'm going to be able to attend. Looking forward to that. Yeah.
Are you bringing the missus too, or are you just leaving her at home with the kid?
Probably leaving her at home with the kid. I guess. I mean, she's adamant. She adamantly says she's not invited, and I said, well, I'm going, so therefore, yes, you are. But she doesn't drink, and obviously with the kid, it's tough. And the only thing that's kind of hanging me up is I don't know how I'm going to get home if I am drinking. So that's kind of the issue. It's not like Al lives, right across the street. But oh well, we'll figure it out.
Sure. Yeah, but no, I'm doing good. I'm excited about that. I'm excited to hear that snap you sent yesterday of Asher, you drowning. I guess Nikita drowning your son in cake was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, no, so yeah, Corinne got that picture. Nikita's sister got that picture, and I was very happy that picture was taken, because I feel like if I was gonna do anything like as a joke, I would probably get that blown up into like one of those giant canvas frame prints and hang it on the wall somewhere.
As you should, the way God intended, dude.
It's a 9-foot by 12-foot photo of that.
Yeah. All right. Let's hop into the show here a little bit. I am excited to come over a little bit later, and I guess this won't matter to anyone listening, but I won't be able to upload the audio and the video until I go to Josh's house later and steals his Wi-Fi. But the only person listening live is Walter, so no one else will be able to hear that until it's already uploaded later. Anyhow, getting into the show here, we do a little start sit. Josh, the week you were gone, so last Saturday we had actually had a really rough time the week before, but then it looks like Walter's actually helped us turn it around. Last week we went 3 for 5. Looks like we had a good swing to the positive. How did we do last week, and how are we looking overall if people are listening to our start sits this year?
Yeah, so last week, kind of with the trend, 3 out of 5 with a positive 23.65 point differential. Overall, 20 out of 35 with a positive 38.63. Yeah, I'd seen them were a little rough. I didn't look at the matchups. But then I also noticed, like, with how the scoring is done in this accuracy challenge that we get these who should I start? They score a little bit differently than our league. And so if we were going by their scoring, it would have only been 2 out of 5. But with how our league is set up, it's 3 out of 5. So I just use our league because we're the superior platform.
I mean, that makes the most sense. We're giving information based on what we know, and technically, this is still a podcast about our league, right? Even though, whatever.
Even though, yeah.
But all right, so we're doing all right. If you listen to us more often than not, you'll hit than miss. I mean, we're not going to be perfect, but over 500, we'll take it.
Yeah.
Who we got first this week, Josh? I believe this is a blast from the past, and I believe this is one we had just 2 weeks ago where we struggled on, but...
Is it really? Huh. Well,
I mean, it's not your fault. You just get it from the website, right?
Yeah, this is just what I like to call disappointments to the family. Rodgers at Buffalo, or Stafford versus San Fran.
I mean, I'd rather pick up Sam Ehlinger off the waiver wire if, that was a choice. But, I mean, so again, if you look to, again, it was funny because we looked at 2 weeks ago. I believe you and I picked Rodgers over Stafford, and this would have been week 6. And you and I both decided on Rodgers, and Rodgers had 11.84, and Stafford had 11.82. So literally we were correct by only 0.02. But, I mean, they're both very disappointing, and I'll just use the same logic I used last time. Stafford hasn't gone over 12 points in the last 4 weeks, and I guess he's coming off a bye, so that's nice. And it looks like Kyle just invited me to an Xbox Live party, but I'm not going to join that. But, yeah, Stafford hasn't gone over 12 points the last 4 weeks he's played, whereas Rodgers has, other than the one 11-point week where we picked him, I guess, Rodgers was saying, fuck you. He pretty much consistently has... since week 2 was 16, week 3 was 16, week 4 was 16, week 5 was 16, week 6 we picked him was 11.8. So maybe, if we're ever going to pick Rodgers, he's going to go down. But then week 7 last week at Washington, he was 15.7. So he is very, very consistently, no matter how poorly they're playing, he's hitting that 16, high 15 mark. And so I know Buffalo defense is one of the best defenses he's played. But Stafford's also playing that really tough San Fran defense. Van Jefferson's not back. I have no reason, the Rams didn't add any weapon over the bye that they had, so I have no reason to believe that Stafford's going to come out and all of a sudden put up 20 again. So I still got to, go Rodgers here.
Yeah, I agree with your logic there. I was thinking Rodgers just because it has, despite the anemic offense in Green Bay right now, they do have the opportunity for more of a shootout, I think, whereas San Fran's going to try and maintain run the clock, and keep the ball out of Stafford and Kupp's hands, and then go from there. So I do think that the San Fran defense is better situated to shut down Stafford than Buffalo is to shut down Rodgers. But Rodgers doesn't necessarily shut down, or defenses don't necessarily shut down Green Bay. It's literally Green Bay shutting down Green Bay. I read the stat somewhere that between the 20s, Green Bay is ranked like top 5 in efficiency, and then in the red zone they're like top 5 in efficiency, and then between the 20s they are like bottom negative. So it's a very interesting year for Green Bay fans and Green Bay in general. So but yeah, I would go Rodgers in this situation.
All right, you and I agree that we're going Rodgers over Stafford. All right, next here, Josh. Certainly, you could call this category the who category, and I think that's fitting because as we started the season, neither of these guys, I mean, maybe at the very end of draft, people were taking Algier or whatever just because they didn't know what, the Flash is going to be doing, but we've got Tyler Algier versus Carolina, or we've got Chuck Foreman at Atlanta. Or not Chuck Foreman. Chuck Foreman's his dad, Jesus. Deonta Foreman at Atlanta. So 2 backup running backs who have now been thrust into the starting role because CMC got shipped out of town, and CP is on the IR. What are you thinking here? Do you like Algier at home versus Carolina, or do you like Deonta Foreman at Atlanta?
I think that with how Carolina did against Tampa Bay last week, they'll be, a little bit fired up. Obviously, they got rid of the problem in CMC. I'm holding them back. Donta Foreman, we looked at it last week where Deontay Foreman had 100 yards, I believe, or over 100 yards, decent outing. And then this week he doesn't have to split with Chuba Hubbard, so that's going to be a boost in his usage. So I'm gonna go. I would lean Foreman in this situation. I don't know. Do you have any strong thoughts either way?
No, I mean I think it's worth noting that Atlanta's just fucking weird. So like, Algier was pretty heavily splitting with Caleb Huntley, and then last week when they were down all game to Cincinnati, that's when Algier got his most carries. He had 16 carries, and a lot of those came, like as I said, they were down the whole game. So what Atlanta's doing with their running backs is very confusing, but it does seem like they want to continue to split, or they'll give Tyler Algier the rock while they're losing, which I don't know what's going on over there. But I definitely want to go rock Deontay Foreman with you. I mean, I believe he was questionable. I don't know if that injury designation has left, but I don't think anyone is saying anywhere that he's sitting. And we just saw what Cincinnati could do to Atlanta last week, whereas Carolina beat Tampa Bay, the divorced Buccaneers. But I definitely want to rock Deontay Foreman with you. Not that we don't have a lot of consistent stats to go on. Deontay Foreman's just had the one game, which was like a weird game to go off of. But I feel in my truthiness Deontay Foreman over Algier, and that's what I want to stick with.
All right, moving on. We've got the old man versus the child, as in Tyler Lockett versus the New York Giants versus Chris Olave versus Las Vegas. This one was kind of a toss-up for me because there's no DK. Lockett has had some solid weeks. He gets targets. They throw the rock. It should be a good game with New York Giants playing how they're playing. And then Olave is kind of he's the target monster in New Orleans. He's got the red rifle throwing it to him. Las Vegas, they should make it a game because they're both kind of middling teams. So I guess if I were to pick one, I'm leaning Olave just because he is going to have a little bit more targets. Seattle's been running the ball a lot lately with Ken Walker. And so that's kind of where I'm leaning, but I'm not necessarily too strong in one way or another. Gar, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned like the biggest benefit to Lockett is the fact that DK Metcalf is supposed to be out. I mean, it sounds like there's a very small outside chance he can play, but I mean, I think most people are assuming DK Metcalf is out, and Tyler Lockett's questionable himself. With a little bit of a hamstring, and we all know that hamstrings can be very tricky. It does seem like Tyler Lockett's going to play, but I mean, just because he's playing the harder defense in the Giants, and just because he has a little bit of a questionable designation himself, who knows if he tweaks something in game, I would feel much, much more comfortable going Olave. When he hasn't been missing time, he's very consistently been seeing a high target number. Week 2 was 13, week 3 was 13, week 4 and 5 was 7 and 6. He missed that week 6 game, but then he came back roaring last week against Arizona with 14 targets. So, I mean, where there's opportunity, there's going to be production usually. Usually they correlate, not necessarily always causate, but I would feel very comfortable going with Olave here over Vegas. Andy Dalton's still the starter. They've had chemistry last week, so give me Olave.
Yeah. And then moving on to the flex where we usually do 3 or more, we have Brandon Ayuk at Los Angeles Rams. I skipped one, so let's just go with loose ends, which was the tight end category. And I say loose ends because they've been on the injury report, probably not in your starting lineup too frequently, even though they would have been last year. We've got Dalton Schultz versus Chicago or Dawson Knox versus Green Bay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what do you think about this one first, Josh? I want to hear you first, baby.
It's kind of tough to say because Dawson Knox has kind of been in and out. Green Bay, if it's anything like they're predicting, it's going to be 3 possessions for Buffalo, and then they're just going to run the rest of the game because they'll already be up 21 rip. And then for Dalton Schultz, he got me eliminated from the Jordan's Guillotine League, so I kind of have a sour taste in my mouth about him, but he is going up against a team that is kind of finding their stride. And so it could be, it's very possible that it's a good game with offense production. And so I'm just going to go with, with Green Bay being who they are this year, I'm going to go with Dawson Knox, kind of leaning that direction. But I wouldn't be opposed to Schultz either.
I mean, that's interesting because I was definitely leading Schultz again, or I shouldn't say again, but I was leading Schultz myself, and I did pick up Schultz in Jordan's guillotine, and now I wish I would have played him because I started Mark Andrews in that league, and he got me, 3 points, so that's stellar.
Whoa, he got you 6.3 because it's PPR.
I mean, very disappointing still, but yeah, I mean, I guess I didn't really care either way. The only reason Dawson Knox looks a little sexier is because he got that touchdown last week, which is his first touchdown of the year. They are coming off a bye, so who knows exactly what's going on, but I really don't have a dog in the fight. If someone held a gun to my head, I'd pick Schultz, but if you feel more compelled towards Knox and you know the Packers better, I'll take Knox, dude. That doesn't bother me.
All right, well, if someone's holding a gun to your head, let's just go with Schultz.
There's not. I was saying hypothetically if I was making a decision solo.
No, that's what they want you to say, Gar. I can tell. There's somebody there. Okay. Ranch, what are you doing?
He's currently walking around upstairs. I can hear him moving.
All right, yeah, Walters, put your pistol away, your water pistol. But all right, so we can go with Knox then. We'll just go with Knox because we always get two wrong, it seems. So if we're kind of toying with one, and then I said we'll go Schultz, you said Schultz, is kind of where you're leaning. Let's just go Knox. Let's just kind of try and trick the fantasy world.
Let's outsmart ourselves here.
Yeah. Moving on to the section that I tried to start and then I didn't start. Gar, go ahead and talk.
Yeah, let me, Josh, please. Yeah, the section you started didn't finish. I mean, we've got Brandon Ayuk at the Los Angeles Rams. This is just kind of the flex appeal spot. We've got Deebo Samuel out, so Brandon Ayuk's looking sexy. Playing at the Rams, we've got James Conner, who is not playing, so I would not pick him, but he's playing at Minnesota. James Conner already ruled out. And then we have Darrell Henderson versus San Fran. Darrell Henderson was questionable throughout the week. He moved to healthy. Cam Akers will be held out again. So really, we come down to two here: Ayuk with an out Samuel at the Rams, or Henderson at home versus San Fran, and they will both have kind of their lead roles as their complement / backups are out. So we've got Ayuk here or Henderson. And I would just initially lean Ayuk because that San Fran rush defense is brutal. But what are you thinking, Josh?
Yeah, no, I would. I would lean Ayuk as well, just because Deebo's out and they have. I mean, Ayuk had like 11 targets in the last two games, so he's been. They've been trying to feed him the ball. He had 2 touchdowns 2 weeks ago. Last week he had 80 some yards, so he's definitely getting his work in. Instead of Connor, since I didn't know he was ruled out, but we could do Eno in place of that. Walters commented he's going to say it was his idea, but I already thought about it, but I wanted to let you finish. So I don't know if that changes your opinion on that. It doesn't change mine. But I would still lean Ayuk if we were to put Eno in instead of Connor.
Let me pull up Eno's numbers real quick. Last week he had 12 carries for 92 yards and a tud. He also had 4 receptions for 21 yards. So in half-point PPR, because I always pull up in Sleeper instead of our ESPN League, but half-point PPR he would have had 21.3 points. And if I'm mathing in full-point PPR, that would have been 23.3. So, I mean, that's a really good performance against New Orleans. They're playing us this week. I don't know. I hope the game ends up being a shootout just because that's a little bit more fun to watch. Will also take a couple more years off my life. But, I mean, their offense should be able to move. Our defense hasn't really been anything special. So, I mean, Eno Benjamin, he's definitely up there. He's a consideration against Ayuk. Because, I mean, now with that, if Deebo Samuel out, does Jalen Ramsey just shadow Brandon Ayuk all game? I don't know. Or I don't know if Jalen Ramsey just sticks to a side or if he shadows the number one. But, I mean, so obviously Brandon Ayuk will get a little bit more attention. I still think the most upside is there in Ayuk. But I'm certain, like, Eno Benjamin's a sexy option for sure. I would still go Ayuk, though. And then Benjamin second, and then Darrell Henderson a distant third.
Yeah, that's kind of that makes sense. That would be kind of where I'm leaning on this one. So yeah, we'll lock in Ayuk, and we will move on to our sometimes Ayuk and rally. FanDuel favorites, just at least one, more if you want.
Yeah, Josh.
Gar, who you liking?
This week I love DeAndre Swift. He's coming back. He's not carrying an injury designation into the game, so I always love to see that. We love to see a recovering king out there. So DeAndre Swift at 7,500. Like they're not pricing him at like elite running back level, and they're playing. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it wasn't
Miami.
Yeah, it wasn't like a very super scary opponent. So DeAndre Swift for 7,500 against Miami. I don't see why not. We know what he's capable of. We know what that ceiling is. So if he is actually healthy, I'm playing Swift. And then I also really like Irv Smith this week. Not because I think Irv Smith is special. Irv Smith is a big disappointment, I'd say 95% of the time. But we've seen the Cardinals defense. The trend has been, from what I remember, they've given up a lot of points to tight ends this year. And so that one week where Juwan Johnson of the Saints, like he went off for like 22 points, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I believe all year the Arizona Cardinals have been more generous than not to the tight end position. So whether that's just, remember the linebackers stink, or whoever plays middle safety in their cover 3 or whatever, whoever's playing that middle of the field where the tight ends are probably hanging out, they seem to stink. And so Irv Smith, if we're following the trends here, Irv Smith should have an opportunity to have a really good week. And the most expensive tight end in FanDuel this week is like a 69 hunch Kittle, because there's no Kelsey this week within the noon or 3 games. They're in a bye. Mark Andrews already played on Thursday, so Kittle's the most expensive tight end at 69 hunch. So there's really not that true premium option. So I'm gonna roll with Irv Smith this week for 5 G's.
Solid. I went with Tony Pollard, and so he's only 6,300 this week. And with Zeke being ruled out, that's a pretty solid value for a team that likes to run the ball and kind of have a balanced attack. He's had some big games. He's had some duds, but he's had some big games. And now that he has a little bit more opportunity to be a feature back, it could be a good game for him. And then I also toss in a defense, the Commanders' defense, only 3,400 going up against the Indianapolis Colts and Sam Ellinger, who only has 3 preseason games under his belt. So it might be a good opportunity for you to get a really cheap defense. I'm not saying Commanders' D is very good, but they do have a unknown quarterback, or a quarterback that is, his ability in the NFL during regular season is unknown, coming in and started mid-season.
Yeah, all right. I love it. Moving on to the FanDuel bus of the week. And for the record, I'm starting Sam Ellinger in one of my leagues, so we'll see how that goes. But FanDuel bust of the week. This week, Josh, we've got Ken Walker for 8,400 playing the New York Giants. Now, that's going to be sacrilege. Everyone loves to ride the hype. But Ken Walker, that Giants, we've seen it all year. We have to believe in the Giants at this point. They're 6-1, and not every single game is a fluke. They're figuring it out. Their defense is solid. Danny Dash is solid. So Ken Walker, he could easily still have like 10 fantasy points, maybe even 15 fantasy points. But if you're talking like in FanDuel, you do want some people who are just consistent, but you really want values. That's how you can stretch your dollars the furthest. And so I don't think Ken Walker is going to be an absolutely stellar value this week. And so for that reason, he's going to be my bust. 8,400 is pretty expensive for someone playing that pretty rock solid Giant defense.
My bust of the week is Mr. Kyler Murray, $8,200 quarterback. I believe he was like in the top 2 or like top 5 for pricing. COD just came out. We've seen the statistics. Stats don't lie. So I'd avoid Kyler Murray, even if he is going up against the Minnesota defense, which tends to surrender points to everybody except for week 1 quarterback.
Interesting. I definitely would not have called him a bust, but we've been talking yo-yos. Your fantasy season has been much superior to mine this year, so maybe what the hell do I know, really? But yeah, that's interesting, because I assume our game's gonna go gear up to a shootout, like I said earlier. But again, I know fucking absolutely nothing. Moving on to sleeper over-under contest. Last week I had told the folks I needed to recalibrate. I had just kept losing a bunch in a row. And so I was like, nah, we'll go ahead and we'll wait a tick. And then I think I'm going to wait one more week here, and then we'll get back into degenerate gambling. Josh, I assume you're going to do the same, or are you going to hop in there and get some weeks in before Sunday? Or some bets in?
I'm probably going to be a degenerate and get some in there, but I haven't looked yet, because I'm in the same boat as you, where I've rattled off quite a few losses in a row, trying to turn my luck around. And I'm thankful we get all that free money, because I'm still technically in the positive.
Yeah.
But if I'm looking at my sleeper account for this year, it's been bad. It's 60 down.
All right, well, let's go ahead and we'll give a little shout out quick then to some bets that have already been put in. JWoww is now, or I guess it looks like he joined Tyler, so I guess we'll give Tyler the credit. But yeah, JWoww joined Super T's 5-leg contest. We've got Greg Dulcich, tight end for the Broncos. They like them over 33.5 receiving yards. They like DeAndre Hopkins over 72.5 receiving yards. They like Justin Fields over 47.5 rushing yards. They like Raheem Mostert over 68.5 rushing yards, and then like Elijah Moore over 2.5 receptions. I doubt that's going to hit, but that's the contest Tyler put together, and JWoww and Sorry Miss Jackson have joined it. So that's a bet that's already in there. And I'm trying to see if anyone else has already put in some football numbers. Looks like almost everyone just joined T's contest. Al joined it. Glick joined it. So it looks like 5 people all have this 5-piece going. Good for them. But that's the only football bet I can see that's already been put in for this Sunday. And we do have a Sunday morning game, I believe. I forget who's in London. Someone's in London, I'm pretty sure. So we'll have a 9:30 game, I believe. So that'll be nice. But I don't think I'm going to put any more bets in, or maybe I'll sneak in a Vikings bet at a boredom. But no sleeper over under this week for me. And then just real quickly, Josh, get into the weekly preview. I'm going to pull up the slate of games here because I didn't have a chance to write them down. But, I mean, do you have any excitement at all for the Packers game playing the Buffalo Bills? Do you expect you guys to just get absolutely fucking throttled?
Yes.
The second one?
Both. I do have excitement. I mean, it's still Green Bay Packers football. It's a superior product on the football field. It'll be a game to watch. Obviously, Rodgers I think is like 12-0 in prime time in his last 12 games or something like that. So it's we'll just see how that goes. Obviously, got a lot to work on. I would say that Rodgers isn't necessarily the problem. He's not doing his best. He's not playing like world beater, but if the guys can turn it around, kind of eliminate the mental mistakes that they're clearly making. Even I have seen them on the TV and I don't pay much attention. But we could have a good game. I doubt we have a good game, but yeah, I'm interested. I have Josh Allen in a league, so that kind of helps my interest.
Sure. And that's one thing I did want to touch on myself is it's just like, because we watch the tape and no one can really say who's at fault for this or that, but like there's so many people out there saying that, Rodgers is missing throws and this and that. And I mean, you can watch the games and be like, yeah, Rodgers is just like, he didn't get the receiver. He's throwing over, he's throwing under this or that. But I mean, if the storyline all season has been these receivers are so garbage or they're just at a sink or this or that, like Rodgers isn't always just throwing like to wherever he sees a guy's hands are and throws to where they are. There's plenty of routes in the league where Rodgers will throw before they're out of their cut or this or that. And then so if the receiver just runs too far or their timing's off, Rodgers' pass will look bad. And I can't believe I'm defending Aaron Rodgers right now. I should just, I'd rather jump off a bridge. But like, if the timing is off between Rodgers and the receiver, the pass will look like Rodgers underthrew it, but it could just be that the receiver ran too far, or he was too late in his cut. Like, there's plenty of things that Rodgers could be doing right. I mean, we could just say he's bad, and he's obviously not perfect, so he's definitely capable of making mistakes too. But just because a pass looks under or over or whatever, that isn't necessarily on Rodgers. There's probably plenty of times where he's throwing before they're where they're going to be to catch the ball. So it's really interesting. I wish. I mean, Rodgers goes on McAfee every Tuesday. I wish there was more of a breakdown of, this one was my fault, this one wasn't my fault. Not that he's going to sit there and break down every play, but I would be interested to know how much blame Rodgers gives himself for fucking up, or if it's truly like, in Rodgers' minds, 99% on the receivers or whoever else just missing assignments or running the routes poorly or whatever. So that's I'm interested in that. Because on TV, it can look so clear that Rodgers is missing throws, but you've played football, a lot more goes into it than just Rodgers bad. So,
yeah, no, it's if it's an incomplete pass, it's not always on the quarterback. I mean, there's drops involved, there's timing routes, there's a lot of different things that can go into effect. Obviously, if the O-line breaks down and Rodgers is scrambling, it could be a throwaway. But yeah, it looks, from the looks of it, there have been a lot of those like miscues, timing routes. I think there's been like I think that Green Bay has 4 players in the top 10 for drops this season, which is just an amazing stat. Um, and then, but I'm not saying Rodgers is, not guilty because he's had some passes that were behind receivers, like on the short bubble screens, and those ones, they're not supposed to go behind the guy. So it's been interesting. So it's whatever, football.
Right. The Sunday morning game, I did look it up here. We've got Denver going. I think Jacksonville technically is the home team, but they're both in London. Russell Wilson doing high knees up and down the aisles of the plane. I'm sure you read that. Playing the London team that almost moved to London, still could. The Jacksonville Jaguars. Both teams 2-5. Is that enough to get you up by 8:30 watching TV? I know you're a church boy, or do you not care so much for that early Sunday morning matchup?
I mean, it'll be. I'd watch it. It's going to be interesting. There's some fantasy implications there for some of the guys, or for some of my leagues. Yes, I'll already be up. I'll be at church probably at that time, or leaving to go there. I don't. I'll probably be doing high knees in the car ride over, just because trying to get my Mr. Unlimited workout in.
Grab a Danger Witch from Subway on the way.
Yeah, duh. Let's ride. But yeah, no, that goober needs to just stop. I agree with you. He needs to go full heel. We're gonna find out. Like, he's gonna retire. And he's gonna, probably get into the Hall of Fame at some point. After his Hall of Fame speech, where his short circuit happens or whatever, we're gonna find out that he's not the real Russell Wilson. The real Russell Wilson is an identical lookalike human living in a basement with like 75 kittens, and he's testing out like mind control devices on these kittens, and that's going to be the real Russell Wilson. It's going to come out he's just involved in some huge scandal.
That would be alarming. But yeah, so very quickly, then we'll get the hell out of here. I'm excited for the Vegas Saints game. That should be exciting. Both teams, I think, who are better than the record indicates, so we'll see what they can do. The Jets, can they beat Billy B? Can they capture exactly what Chicago captured, or does Billy B bounce back? Don't really care about Philly. I'm interested to see how Sam Ehlinger does. We already called out the Washington Colts game. Two teams that are much better than everyone thought they'd be. The Giants are playing the Seahawks. We've talked about that a little bit. I'm excited for that game. That's a 3:30 game. Then we've got the NFC West, San Fran versus the Rams. That one should be exciting. And then Sunday night, Packers Bills. We'll see, but a lot of fun football this weekend. I think hopefully a little bit more exciting as well. I think the scoring was down. I mean, scoring is down across the league in general, but scoring was down last week too. So hopefully, if nothing else, we've got some exciting football to watch this weekend. And that's all I got, Josh. So you go, unless you have anything else you want to say, you can go ahead and hit that Go Packers, and we can get the hell out of here.
Yeah, nothing else. I guess the next show that we have, since it'll be 8 o'clock on Tuesday, the trade deadline will be over, so we should have some of those to report if there's anything big that happens. Green Bay trades for a wide receiver, maybe. Green Bay does not trade for a wide receiver, maybe.
Do you want AJ Green? That's been the name linked to you guys, right?
Yeah, the names that have been linked to me or linked to the Green Bay Packers have absolutely done nothing for me other than DJ Moore. He might be the only guy that would be worth trading for. If they trade for AJ Green, it's just literally
they've given up.
They're trying to turn this team into a retirement home. We've already got a 95-year-old tight end and big dog Mercedes Lewis. We've got Randall Cobb, he's hurt. We've got Sammy Watkins, who's still a person. It's just, bring AJ Green in here, and then they can go play bridge on Wednesdays or whatever their off day is.
I love it. All right, so that's that. I forgot about the trade deadline. That's a good point. I wonder if how many other pieces will move. Probably no one's going to move before the Sunday games at this point, but there could be a lot of action that Monday or that that Tuesday before. I think it ends at 4 p.m. or 3 p.m., whatever it is Eastern, but I think 4 p.m. Eastern, I want to say. Who knows? Doesn't matter. Trade deadline coming up, so we'll have stuff to talk about Tuesday night. But yeah, that is the show, everyone. We appreciate you so much for listening. Walters, thank you for listening live as long as you did. Walters had to get out of here as well. But yeah, Josh, hit your Go Packers. And I guess we can just talk about this during the music, but I did not end up getting Asher a gift. I know you said it was cool for me to not bring anything, but if you want to go ahead and warn the wife, and then if she brings a shotgun as I approach the house, I understand. But I didn't get anything, so I'm garbage.
That's okay. No worries. But yeah, Go Packers. I'll see you in a bit.
Why isn't the music playing? All right, well, whatever, Josh. I'll fix the music later. You can go ahead and get out of here. I'm sure you've got a party to get ready for. So
Yeah, I gotta go pick up dog poop and put in the gift bags for people.
go put it in with the go get yourself another metal
Chili.
trash can and then just get her going one more time.
Oh yeah. All right, deuces.
All right,
Go
peace out.
Packers.
There we go.